In chilling detail, we have learned from Minnesota investigators what happened in what they have called a murderous rampage and political assassination. The outline of 20 pages detailing what they say the suspect did, how he went not to one, two, three, but four, at least four separate houses of state representatives in Minnesota, killing two people, seriously injuring two more who miraculously survived an onslaught of bullets. He had stalked his victims like prey, is the way officials put it, shot them in cold blood. And these devastating acts of violence, these heinous acts of violence, were planned carefully using the internet, using surveillance, using his own outfit and body armor. I want to bring in Catherine Christian and Tom Winter back with me. Tom, you and I have listened to a lot of press conferences together. This was extremely pointed, extremely detailed, and I want to play just a little bit of just how carefully police say, investigators say, the suspect planned all of this.
Belter planned his attack carefully. He researched his victims and their families. He used the internet and other tools to find their addresses and names, the names of their family members. He conducted surveillance of their homes and took notes about the location of their homes. He also prepared in other ways. He concealed himself as a police officer, outfitting his black SUV with police lights and a police license plate, wearing a black tactical vest and body armor, carrying a police flashlight and a handgun. And of course, he wore that hyper-realistic silicone mask as seen on the surveillance videos.
He goes to their doors, those who answered. He presents himself as a police officer and then in one case as a robber, now potentially facing formal first-degree murder charges, which would include a death penalty option. Your big takeaways, Tom, from this press conference?
Yeah, I think objectively, as bad as this is, the fact that it could have been a whole lot worse. I mean, you have two houses that he went to. In one instance, the person wasn't home. Again, another lawmaker. In the second instance, police arrive there and not sure what he's about. He then leaves and goes to the fourth home where he's involved in the second shooting. So this could have been a lot worse. I think the idea that law enforcement in the middle of the night thought to pick up the phone or pick up the radio and start sending out units to various state lawmakers shows a level of proactive law enforcement that is really astounding to look at.
Extraordinary and life-saving.
100% life-saving, and I think speaks to the fact that law enforcement agencies from their most local level to the top of the FBI or top of the state police or the NYPD, the biggest law enforcement agencies in this country, are now acutely aware of the threat of political violence. And they took it so seriously, and that it unquestionably saved lives based on the account that we have from the allegations and the criminal complaint. Speaking to that, on the charges, 2 counts of stalking. When you use a cell phone or the internet to look somebody up, you're going across state lines, and that's the charge that they have here. So just by the fact that he was looking up and stalking online these individuals and then committed a crime after that, those are the first 2 counts. Counts 3 and 4 have to do with the murder of Hortman, and that's using a firearm in a violation of a federal statute. That is a life imprisonment is the maximum sentence there. That is a death penalty eligible charge. There's also charges, the shooting of the Hoffmans using a firearm. The detail that he knocked on the door, he's got the lights flashing, he's wearing the silicone mask, now confirmed that he was wearing a mask. He's got the police flashlight there. You're looking at the image right there, very clear. And then when they challenge him, at the Hortman residence with, you're not a police officer. What is this all about? He says, well, this is a robbery. They try to hold him back, and then he fires his weapon and is involved in the 2 homicides there. The daughter calling 911 in incredibly chilling detail that we received from the U.S. attorney in this case, Joseph Thompson, the acting U.S. attorney. A couple other notes from this. This is the largest field office, FBI field office in the country by geographic size. Alvin Winston, who runs that office, saying that this was the largest manhunt in Minnesota history, talking about how everyone came together there. I know Catherine Christian, more of an expert on this than I am, but with respect to the idea of terrorism charges, or would there be charges more tied to the potential politics of this, one of the things that came out. Now, we have not described, we've said that law enforcement used the word manifesto. We have not. We've been saying writings from the beginning, and we've seen several dozen politicians that are there. To this point, this is an important kind of a clarification and information from the acting U.S. attorney. There does not appear to be a screed here, a 3 or 4 page type document, a written document that says, this is why I did this crime. So that's one of the things why they're being so careful. As they point out, they're still just going through the phones. They're going through the whole investigative process. So the criminal complaint is kind of like a placeholder, if you will. It starts the legal process. It puts them in legal custody. But undoubtedly, we'll get more information in the days and weeks ahead.
And Catherine Christian, that is an important point. We never, in these initial press conferences, first of all, I don't think we see the level of detail that we got, but they only give you a fraction of what they know and what they may yet understand to be true, including the many notebooks full of plans that they say they found over the course of months at multiple locations. So no political screed, but what looked like incredibly detailed planning. What did you hear with a prosecutor's mind?
Well, the first thing I thought for the federal prosecutors, these details are the aggravating factors that justify the imposition of the death penalty. So that's what you would have to show for the federal side. There is no death penalty in Minnesota, that there were these aggravating factors, substantial planning and preparation, the list. I also was thinking about the 2 legislators who fortunately were not home. I was thinking there could be a stalking charge for those 2, or even an attempted murder, depending on the evidence, because clearly he was not going to these 2 public officials just for a visit. And how lucky they are that they are alive and unharmed. And that was thankful to the law enforcement. So as a prosecutor, I'm also thinking, do I have those extra charges? Did he take a substantial step towards stalking or trying to murder them?